This book gives an outline of the principles of monitoring and evaluation, M&E, definitions of terms related to M&E and examples on all the concepts used herein. The author Mr. Zatwalangidi is confident that this resource will go a long way in ensuring that small and emerging NGOs are able to articulate good results frameworks and monitoring plans. In this book the author demystifies the M&E notion, which is often said to be complicated to small and emerging NGOs. The author is also grateful to the many M&E resources and persons whose insights and knowledge has been fused into this book. Monitoring and Evaluation for Small and Emerging NGOs. This is the first edition of the Manual on Monitoring and Evaluation for Small and Emerging NGOs. Publisher CBTO. Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. April 2024. Physical address Mbazi 1 near Examination Council. Printed by Grid Solutions Printing Company. Address, tel, +255 7434719171, website, https://ziajan5.wixsite.com/Tanzanian-development YouTube, SPO NGO. Table of Contents. Part I. Introduction and Purpose. Effective Monitoring and Evaluation. The M&E Framework. Goals and Objectives. Activities. Indicators. M&E Tools. Part 2. Articulation of a logical framework. Theory of change. Objective and results statements. Goals. Strategic objectives. Critical assumptions. Performance indicators. Target setting. Part 3. Measurement methods. Measurement and data sources. Choosing indicator measurement methods. Identifying and selecting data sources. Annex 1. Comparison among various result frameworks. Annex 2. CRS Prof. RAME. Annex 3. USAID's Results Framework. Annex 4. Logical Framework. Annex 5. Results Framework Starter Worksheet. References. 1. Introduction and Purpose of M&E. The main aim of monitoring and evaluation, M&E, is to enhance the effectiveness of organizations by establishing clear links between past, present, future interventions and results. Monitoring and evaluation can also help an organization to extract, from past and ongoing activities, relevant information that can subsequently be used as the basis for programmatic fine-tuning, reorientation, and planning. Therefore, without monitoring and evaluation, it would be impossible to judge if work is going in the right direction, whether progress and success can be achieved, and how future efforts might be improved. This resource aims to help project and program managers to address these shortcomings, in order to strengthen the evidence base for good interventions and increase the amount of reliable information available to all those working to tackle community problems. And for the first part of this resource, the HIV/AIDS problem. Page 1. 2. Definitions of monitoring and evaluation. Monitoring is defined as the routine process of data collection and measurement of progress towards program objectives. Monitoring also assesses the extent to which a project or program is undertaken consistently with the implementation plan and the extent to which a project or program is actually benefiting specified groups of beneficiaries. Monitoring is a continuous process that aims primarily to provide the management and main stakeholders of an ongoing project or program with early indications of progress, or lack of progress, in the achievement of results and quality of the services. It therefore helps project or program managers to determine which areas require greater effort and to identify areas which might contribute to an improved response. In addition, monitoring is used for measuring trends over time. Monitoring is done through record keeping, regular reporting, and surveillance systems to keep track of the progress, as well as observation and surveys. Page 2. Example of monitoring. The executive director is interested in finding out if the project for most vulnerable children is being carried out according to the project plan and standards of quality. The following questions are addressed by monitoring. 1. To what extent are planned activities actually realized? 2. Are we making progress towards achieving our objectives and targets? 3. Are the activities carried out according to the implementation plan? 4. What services are provided, to whom, when, how often, for how long and in what context? 5. How well are the services provided? 6. What is the quality of the services provided? 7. What is the cost of these services? Page 3. What is effective monitoring? Effective monitoring focuses on the results and follows up progress towards intended results. It records monitoring results in reports and uses them to inform recommendations, follows up decisions and actions, and depends on good program design, a realistic chain of outcomes, outputs, and activities. On the other hand, participatory monitoring is used to ensure commitment, ownership, follow-up, and feedback on the performance. Participatory mechanisms include group outcome and stakeholders meetings, steering committee, and focused group interviews. It is critical in understanding outcomes and causes for success or failure. What is evaluation? Evaluation is a process of gathering and analyzing information in order to determine if the project is implemented according to planned objectives and activities and the extent to which the project is achieving its stated objectives through these activities. Evaluation verifies the monitoring data by assessing the effectiveness, efficiency, and significance of the project. Page 4. Evaluation is the use of social research methods to investigate the effectiveness of a project or program. It involves measurements over time on the progress towards the achievement of an outcome. For example, this can be measurement of changes in a target group of beneficiaries, e.g. regarding risk behavior, knowledge, attitudes, skills, etc. Evaluation means that you look at what the outcomes and judge if the program makes a difference. In other words, evaluation attempts to link a particular output or outcome directly to an intervention after a period of time has passed. Evaluation thus helps project or program managers determine the value or worth of a specific project or program. Cost-effectiveness and cost-benefit evaluations are useful in determining if outputs correspond to the investment in resources and what the added value of a particular project or program has been. Evaluation also relates the outputs of a project or program to wider national trends in behavior and other outcomes, such as HIV prevalence rate. This type of evaluation is important, even if the project or program is only one part of a collective effort. Page 5. Example of evaluation: the donor organization wants to know if the building program for water and sanitation organizations is changing the effectiveness of the organizations in managing their organization, implementing activities, and applying for new grants. Evaluation is not a one-time event, but assessments can be done at several points in time, also due to changing needs for knowledge about the project or program and lessons learned. During different evaluations, the scope and depth of the assessment can also be changed. All evaluations, even project or program evaluations that assess relevance, performance, and other criteria, must be linked to outcomes as opposed to only implementation or immediate outputs. Therefore, evaluation addressed the following questions. What outcomes are observed? What do the outcomes mean? Does the program make a difference? What effects and side effects are seen? Page 6. Monitoring evaluation: when is it done? Continuously throughout the life of the project/program. Occasionally before implementation, midterm, at the end or beyond the project/program period. What is measured? Efficiency: use of inputs, activities, outputs, assumptions. Effectiveness: longer-term impact and sustainability, achievement of purpose and goal and unplanned change. Who is involved? Staff within the Agency. In most cases done by people from outside the agency. Sources of information: internal documents, e.g. monthly or quarterly reports, work and travel logs, minutes of meetings. Internal and external documents, e.g. consultants' reports, annual reports, national statistics. Who uses the results? Managers and project/program staff. Managers, staff, funding agency, e.g. project, beneficiaries, other agencies. How are results used? To make minor changes, to make major changes in policy, strategy, and future work. Differences between monitoring and evaluation. Page 7. 3 key concepts of M&E goal: a general statement that describes the long-term, 5 to 10 years, hoped for result of a project or program or the combined efforts of multiple project or programs. Objective: a specific, operationalized statement that describes the result the project or program aims to achieve over its lifetime with regards to the stated goal. Activity: the specific action that is planned to be conducted in order to achieve an objective. Indicator: the thing to look at, clue, sign, and marker, that will help you monitor how you are progressing in achieving your objectives and how much things are changing. Target: expected value to be achieved for an indicator in a specific time frame. It may express quantity, how much, quality, how good, or efficiency, least resources. Page 8. Deliverable: the main product or tangible result that is expected to be achieved by the end of a certain period. Baseline: the measurement of the situation at the start of project or program. Data collection method: a scientific design or approach to collecting data. These methods may be quantitative or qualitative. Data collection tool: the main instrument that is used to record the information that will be gathered through a particular method. Sampling: the selection of representative individual observations with the intention to gain some knowledge about the whole population. Target population: the population you are interested in and targeting during data collection. A population does not need to be human, but can be a collection of all the items about which you want to know some characteristics. Documentation: any communicable material, such as text, video, audio, etc., or combinations of those, that is used to explain something. Page 9. Documenting: this is the process of recording information such as text, video and audio, for the purpose of communicating this information or using it in another way, such as data analysis. Data analysis: the process of taking the data that you have collected and looking at it with the intent to extract useful information and develop conclusions on the questions that you need to answer during monitoring and evaluation. Reporting: is the systematic and timely provision of essential information in periodic intervals, monthly, quarterly, annually, and/or when specific activities take place. Milestone: the completion of a key phase, activity, or deliverable in the implementation of the project or program. A milestone may also signify an important decision or the derivation of a critical piece of information, which outlines or affects the future of a project or program. Challenge: this is a difficulty or constraints that you face during the project or program period in reaching the planned progress. Page 10. Risk: a difficulty or constraints that you might be facing during the project or program period in reaching the planned progress. Lesson learned: an instructive example based on experience, of beneficiaries or in management of the project or program, that is applicable to a general situation rather than to a specific circumstance. Success story: unique stories on experiences of specific beneficiaries of a project or program. Executive summary: a brief overview of a report or proposal designed to give readers a quick preview of its contents. Page 11. 4. The importance of monitoring and evaluation. Monitoring and evaluation helps to improve performance and achieve results. More precisely, the overall purpose of monitoring and evaluation is the measurement and assessment of performance in order to more effectively manage the outcomes and outputs known as development results. Performance is defined as progress and achievements towards the expected results. It therefore keeps track of where your project is and judges if work is going in the right direction and if it suits that which we aiming for. A monitoring and evaluation system needs to fulfill the following purpose: accountability, demonstrating to financiers, beneficiaries, and implementing partners that expenditure, actions and results are as agreed or are as can reasonably be expected in a given situation. Supporting operational management, providing the basic management information needed to direct, coordinate and control the human, financial, and physical resources required to achieve any given objective. Page 12. Supporting strategic management, providing the evidence for informed decision-making on setting and adjusting goals, objectives, and strategies and to improve quality and performance. Knowledge creation, generating new insights and lessons learned that contribute to the established knowledge base in a given field. This will also help to design future interventions. Empowerment is about building the capacity, self-reliance, and confidence of beneficiaries, implementing personnel, partners and management. Furthermore, monitoring and evaluation assists in communication and advocacy, is a good management practice, is often a donor requirement. Page 13. Figure 1. Continuous process of monitoring and evaluation. Page 14. The objectives of monitoring and evaluation are linked together in a continuous process, as shown in Figure 1. Learning from the past contributes to more informed decision-making. Better decisions lead to greater accountability to stakeholders. Better decisions also improve performance, allowing for activities and projects or programs to be adjusted continually, be accountable and reposition ourselves and make more informed decisions. Partnering with key stakeholders throughout this process also promotes sharing knowledge and lessons learned, and it helps in transferring skills and the development of the capacity of the organization in planning, monitoring, and evaluation. The stakeholders can also provide valuable feedback that can be used to improve performance and learning relationship between monitoring and evaluation. In a well-designed monitoring and evaluation system, monitoring contributes greatly towards evaluation. The two functions are interactive and neither should be undertaken as a substitute for the other. Monitoring can provide quantitative and qualitative data that can serve as inputs to evaluation. Evaluation can serve as a source or lessons that can be applied in refining the monitoring. So they are mutually supportive and equally important. Page 15. The objectives and the methodology used in monitoring and evaluation are different. In general, evaluations are more difficult in view of the methodology needed. Without a good framework, wrong conclusions on the value of a project or program can be drawn. They are also more costly, especially outcome and impact evaluations, which often require population-based surveys or other complex research designs. However, evaluation can make use of data and surveys that are nationally available and regularly undertaken by other institutions, e.g. VCT surveys and study on prevalence rates. Page 16. 6. Monitoring and evaluation framework. Domains of information. Monitoring and evaluation takes place at multiple stages of the program. At each stage we gather different information that comes together to demonstrate how the project has been conducted and what has occurred as a result. For monitoring there are three main domains of information required. Input, resources going into and carrying out the project or program. These include staff, finance, materials and time. Process, set of activities in which program resources, human and financial, are used to achieve the results expected from the program. Output, immediate results obtained by the program through the execution of the activities. Page 17. Examples of monitoring information. Input: how many staff members of staff are available to do the work? How many weeks will this assignment take us? Process: how many workshop or training session done? Output: how many trained peer educators? How many condoms have been distributed in the past 6 months? For evaluation, there are two main domains of information required: outcome, short-term or intermediate results obtained by the program through execution of activities; impact, long-term effects, which can be researched through special studies with wide district, region, and national coverage. Page 18. Example of evaluation information outcome. What % of the target population is using condoms? Has the social structure improved to support people living with HIV/AIDS? Information is most valuable if you measure at different times during the project or program. That enables you to compare with earlier results and see improvement over time. Measurement at the start of the project or program is called the baseline. Baseline information about the initial situation should be collected before the interventions are started, so that changes can be later compared with this. Otherwise, it is virtually impossible to show what, if any, difference your work has made. Sometimes the baseline is also referred to as needs assessment, when it is also aiming to identify what the exact needs that the project or program should address. These assessments are often more valuable when they are done in a participatory way and include stakeholders and beneficiaries in the activity. It is important to identify at the outset of a project or program how we will gather the information for each level. For monitoring and evaluation. Page 19. Goals and objectives. The core of any monitoring and evaluation system is the goals and objectives of the project or program. Goals and objectives are written in such a way that they can be easily distinguished from one another and measure efforts of multiple programs. A goal is the general statement that describes the long-term, 5 to 10 years, and hoped-for results of a project, program, or the combined efforts of multiple programs. Goal ought not to be stated broadly because this will make it difficult to identify the right objective and indicator. If possible, specify those aspects believed to make the greatest difference to improved performance. For example, rather than using a broad goal like improved capacity of a program staff in organization B, clarify the aspect that the project or program specifically contains, like improved leadership or improved proposal writing. Page 20. Also be clear about what type of change is implied in the goal statement. Changes can be in situation, a condition, the level of knowledge, an attitude, and behavior. Also clarify whether the change being sought is absolute, a relative change, or no change. Absolute changes involves the creation or introduction of something new, an HIV education program where there was none. Relative changes involves increase, decrease, improvement, strengthening or weakening in something that currently exists, but at a higher or lower level than is considered optimum, the expansion of program that care for orphans to include more children. No change involves the maintenance, protection, or preservation of something that is considered fine as it is, ensuring capacity building training continues to be provided to program staff. Also specify where the changes should appear. Is change expected to occur among individuals, families, groups, communities, organizations, regions? Clearly, a change in the prevalence rate for an entire nation will be quite different than for a particular town of business. Page 21. Examples of goals. HIV prevalence of women in Morogoro region is reduced to 5%. Most vulnerable children under 18 in Kinondoni district are provided with basic needs. 80% all organizations in Tanzania have HIV/AIDS mainstreamed in their workplaces. Improved quality of training provided by trainers working in the agriculture sector. Objectives. An objective is a specific, operationalized statement that describes what you will do to achieve the stated goal. The objective thus represents the contribution to the project or program will made to the goal. A properly stated objective is action-oriented and starts with a word to and is followed by a verb which indicate a change and the direction that the change will take, e.g. decrease, increase, strengthen, improve, and enhance. Avoid verbs that. Page 22. Refer to activities or implementation strategies, e.g. train, provide, produce, establish, create or conduct. A. Objectives usually address the question what and when. B. Objectives do not address question of why or how. The why should be explained in the goal and rationale of the project or program. The how will be determined by the activities to be performed. C. Objectives are stated in terms of results to be achieved, not processes or activities to be performed. D. Well-stated objectives identify who will be reached, what change will be achieved, in what time period that change will be achieved and where, in what location. E. When determining objectives, you need to keep in mind the fact that they need to be SMART, FS specific and clear. Does it cover only one rather than multiple achievements? G.M. Measurable, can it be measured or counted in some way? H.A. Attainable, is the objective actually doable? Can we achieve this with the available resources? Page 23. Refer to activities or implementation strategies, e.g. train, provide, produce, establish, create or conduct. I. Objectives usually address the question what and when. J. Objectives do not address question of why or how. The why should be explained in the goal and rationale of the project or program. The how will be determined by the activities to be performed. K. Objectives are stated in terms of results to be achieved, not possesses or activities to be performed. J. Well-stated objectives identify who will be reached, what change will be achieved, in what time period that change will be achieved and where, in what location. L. When determining objectives, you need to keep in mind the fact that they need to be SMART, MS specific and clear. Does it cover only one rather than multiple achievements? NM measurable, can it be measured or counted in some way? OA attainable, is the objective actually doable? Can we achieve this with the available resources? Page 24. It might necessary to further explain terms and beneficiaries target in your project or program documentation. For example, provide can be a wide range of persons, skilled and unskilled, medical and health, public and private. Another example is youth, which may be categorized into different age ranges, in and out of school, urban or rural, etc. You need to think about and document what exactly you mean with these words. Example of SMART objectives. To provide loans for income-generating activities to widows in Dar es Salaam by May 2008. To train 10 community home-based care providers in 3 districts of Kagera in the first 6 months of the project. To support 50 foster families caring for orphans and vulnerable children in Mbeya until December 2027. To provide technical support and expertise to 10 partner organizations on the implementation of HIV and AIDS workplace program in the next 2 years. Page 25. Activities. The activities that are planned to be conducted in order to achieve each objective have to be defined as well. The activities should be as specific as possible and present well-defined events with easily described beginning and end points. When you are describing the activities, the best way to do this is to follow a logical sequence. So for each objective you have to thin what activity will be the first thing to do. Then what is the next activity, what comes after each activity, what comes after that, etc. Examples of activities. Conduct capacity building workshop for civil society organizations. Develop training curriculum for community development animators. Identify new foster families caring for most vulnerable children. After activities have been defined, a project or program planning can be made, with the appropriate time frame and budget for each activity. Page 26. Indicators. Now that we have SMART objectives and activities, you can move on to select what might be most appropriate indicators. Indicators are the things to look at, clues, signs, and markers, that will help monitor how you are progressing in achieving your objectives and extent to which things are changing. Whereas a result statement identifies what we hope to accomplish, indicators tell us specifically what to measure to determine whether the objective has been achieved. For example, if you are driving in a car and the gas gauge shows you are low on gas, it is not actually the gas you are looking at, but rather you are looking at an indicator of the amount of gas you have. Page 27. The indicators are at the heart of a monitoring and evaluation system, because they define the data to be collected to measure progress and enable actual results achieved over time to be compared with planned results. Thus, they are an indispensable management tool for making performance-based decisions about program strategies and activities. Other ways that performance indicators and the data collected on them can be used include: to orient and motivate operating unit staff towards achieving results, to communicate achievement to all the staff, development partners, and beneficiaries, to report results achieved to stakeholders, including government and citizens. Indicators should always be directly related to your project objective. So the process of selecting indicators can be fairly straightforward if the program objectives have been presented clearly and in terms that define the quantity, quality, and time frame of a particular aspect of the program. SMART. Page 28. Type of indicators for monitoring. This means you can choose input indicators, indicators that say something about the resources that are put into this work. Process indicators, indicators that say something about the activities that are being done. Output indicators, indicators that say something about immediate results of the activities that are being done. For evaluation you can choose outcome indicators, indicators that say something about the short-term effects of the program or project that has been done. Impact indicators, indicators that say something about the long-term effects of the program or project that has been done. Page 29. Examples of indicators. Percentage enrollment for school-age children in the past 22 months. Percentage improvement of school attendance in the past 12 months. Number of children provided with psychological counseling in the past 3 months. Percentage of target population using a condom in the last sexual act with non-regular partner. Number of ventilated improved pit latrines built. Finally, we need to be aware that donors sometimes have few required indicators that you have to use. Further, international agencies, government and local stakeholders that have an interest in the work may have many standardized indicators to collect and report on. Page 30. Targets are expects values to be achieved for an indicator. It may express quantity, how much, quality, how good, or efficiency, least resources, to be achieved in a specific time frame. Not for all indicators it is possible to set a target. when it just states that something has to be done, for example launch of a new website. Example of targets: 100% enrollment for school-going children in 2 years. 70% reduction in school dropout in the project area. 20 VCT sites set up in the last year. 15 HBC providers training in the last 12 months. 5% increase in condom use among target population. The deliverables are the main products or tangible results that are expected to be achieved by the end of a certain period. The deliverables therefore help achieve the objectives and may be achieved by one or more activities. Page 31. Examples of deliverables: 20 nurses from 4 clinics trained on palliative care, condom distribute through 10 health facilities in the district. 10 project proposal for income generating activities written in 3-month. New website for organization constructed. Page 32. M&E tools. The key element in planning and design a good monitoring tool includes the following. Tools should be in participatory way so that staff who will use the tools will be included in the design of the tools. Tools should always be as simple and as clear as possible. Tools should be concise and collect only the information that is necessary and will be used. Tools should be pre-tested to ensure that they are user-friendly for the person who will administer the tool or for a program participant/client if the tool will be self-administered. It should be possible to use tools under the same conditions when that are planned to be used several times. And B. It should be discussed with the program staff, and explained to the staff the reason for collecting the data. Page 33. Program staff should be well trained to use data collection or to explain tools or to explain self-administered data collection tools. Role-play exercises may help to build communication skills of staff to improve challenging areas of data collection. Tools are central to qualitative data collection because qualitative methods rely on structure, standardized instrument-like questionnaires. Tools, such as open-ended questionnaires or checklists, are often used in qualitative data collection as a way to guide a relatively standardized implementation of a qualitative method. Page 34. Part 2. Developing a logical framework. In this second part of the guide we give an explanation of how to develop logical and results frameworks. We use the most basic definition of a logical framework, which is a systematic and visual way to present and share your understanding of the relationships among the resources you have to operate your program, the activities you plan, and the changes or results you hope to achieve. CRS 2007. It should also be noted from this onset that a results framework is similar to a logical framework, except that it focuses on articulating results. In essence, the frameworks are planning, management, and communication tools. Which type of framework designers choose to use usually depends on donor demands and are developed during the design phase and are revised as necessary during implementation. The frameworks also guide the project/program managers in the development of detailed implementation plans and program or project budgets. While at Capacity Building Tanzania Organization, CBTO. Page 35. We are cognizant of the fact that there is no single agreed upon approach for developing logical or results frameworks. We believe that agreeing upon an approach within an organization will help you provide more consistent technical assistance, which will, in turn, increase the utility of the logical or results frameworks to organizational planning, monitoring, and evaluation processes. Therefore, the document contains guidance on 1. Theories of change. 2. Objective or result statements. 3. Critical assumptions. 4. Performance indicator statements. 5. Measurement methods and data sources. B. We also give a comparison of logical and results frameworks terminologies from different agencies and give practical examples of the kind of data captured in various frameworks. Page 36. Theory of change. The theory of change is important because logical or results frameworks establish a hierarchy of objective or result statements, or a development pathway, to show how project or program designers believe change will come about. How project or program designers believe change will come about are referred to as their theories of change. Simply put, theories of change are found in underlying assumptions, articulated strategy, and interconnected actions in a project that are intended to lead a community or organization to a positive transformation. DFD 2007. When theories of change are well captured in logical or results frameworks, program managers can use them to clearly say what the programs are trying to achieve and what they think needs to happen to get there. Monitors can then look for evidence of activities leading to anticipated results, or probe to find out why a result is or is not leading to a next higher level anticipated result. Page 37. It is also important that a logical or results framework clearly articulates the direct cause-effect relationship between different levels of objectives or results. Going down a logical or results framework, how an objective or result will be achieved should be explained by the objective or result below it. For example, program designers hope that women farmers will adopt new agricultural techniques, higher level result. As a result of learning new agricultural techniques, lower level result. Going up a logical or results framework, why we are trying to achieve a lower level objective or result should be explained by the one above it. For example, program designers believe that women farmers will learn new agricultural techniques, lower level result, in order to adopt them, higher level result. The statements in the example above are describing changes expected to happen at different levels. Achieving one objective or. Page 38. Result at one level should directly contribute to the achievement of the next. Readers should not need to make inferences or many, broad assumptions in order to understand the cause-effect relationship between different levels of a logical or results framework. Page 39. Objective or results statements. In this part we consolidate insights into the general guidelines for conceptualizing and writing objective or result statements. It is also worth noting that all objective or result statements, regardless of level, need to clearly convey what the project or program is trying to achieve. Objective statements, which are used in logical frameworks, express progress project designers hope to achieve and are written in present tense. Results statements, which are used in results frameworks, state the achievements project designers will report on when a project is finished and are expressed in past tense. As was learned in Part 1, objective or result statements should be measurable and objectively verifiable, meaningful, and realistic. Page 40. Conduct a well-grounded and realistic problem analysis. Developing a problem tree can help identify various levels of causes of a problem. If a problem analysis is conducted properly and grounded in information learned through needs assessments, project designers can understand the causes of specific problems and identify the most appropriate ways to address them. By turning a problem tree into an objectives tree, negative statements into positive statements, a basis for objective statements is developed. Precisely identify what will change, who or what will change. Will the change take place in a specific geographic region? Is there an intent that a specific subset of the population will change? Be clear and specific about the type of change sought, what specifically is expected to change as a result of the activities, a situation or condition, a behavior, knowledge, or attitude. Is this expected change absolute or relative? Ensure that objective or result statements are focused on changes that participants hope to achieve as a result of the program or project. Project participants, individuals, communities, organizations, or targets for change, rice production, health clinics. Page 41. Should be the grammatical subject of objective or result statements, and objective or result statements should describe the change participants hope to bring about as a result of the program or project. Ensure that objective or result statements are in line with organization's strategic interests. There are many changes that could benefit participants. For organization to have an impact beyond the project or program levels, projects and programs should be aligned with organization's broader strategies. Ensure that achieving the results described is within the program's or project manageable interest and within the required timeline. Is the result described a result that the program or project can be reasonably expected to bring about or contribute to? Can the objectives or results be achieved by the end of program or project? If not, revise the statements to truly reflect results that can be measured and achieved within the project's or program's time frame. Page 42. Clearly establish the logical connection between activities and program goal. When writing objective or result statements, use strong action verbs. Does the verb clearly describe what will take place in the activity? Will monitors know what kind of activity they are looking for and therefore whether or not the project is being implemented as planned? Make each objective or result statement unidimensional. Is the statement capturing only one result? Does the result statement contain only one verb and a manageable number of subjects and objects? Measuring more than one change in one objective or result statement is complicated. If one of the multiple changes does not take place as expected, even if the others do, then the program has failed to meet the objective. Page 43. For example, two verbs, women rice farmers are using improved cultivation techniques and identifying markets. Two verbs. So two actions to assess. If one does not succeed, the objective is not achieved. To improve this statement, separate using improved cultivation techniques and identifying markets into two objective statements. Two subjects, women rice farmers and women soya producers are using improved cultivation techniques. Multiple subjects to assess. If one does not succeed, the objective is not achieved. This statement can be used as is, if there is indeed a significant difference between the two groups that warrants the distinction, and as long as there are separate indicators for women rice farmers and women soya producers. Alternatively, we can separate women rice farmers and women soy producers into two different objectives. Page 44. Statements. Or, particularly if there is not a significant difference between the two groups, we could say women farmers, knowing that this broader term incorporates both. One subject, one verb, one object, women rice farmers, one subject, are using, one verb, improved cultivation techniques, one object. With one subject, one verb and one object, program managers and project participants know exactly what they are trying to achieve, and they know how to assess whether or not they are achieving that objective. Finally, as suggested above, be flexible and ready to change and rephrase the statements until they truly reflect change that the program or project can realistically achieve based on the capacity and time available and the local context. Page 45. Objective and result statement levels. We also give examples of the most possible objective or result statement levels, although the names they are given might differ according to the logical or results framework used. Examples of the three most common frameworks that CSOs staff members encounter are CRS Prof Frame, USAID's Results Framework and DFID's Log Frame. We also include the Tanzanian very widely used Foundation for Civil Society Results Framework, see annexes. In the following text we define terms used in the frameworks is defined and examples are given as a follow-up on the definition given in part 1. We also give alternative ways of defining. Impact. We define impact as changes in circumstances proven to be caused by a program, is captured in goals, long-term, and strategic objectives, short-term. Outcome. We define outcome as change in individuals, organizations, communities, policies, or governments is captured primarily in intermediate results, although it can also be captured in strategic objectives. Page 46. Output. We defined output as tangible products that result from a program's activities, is captured in the section labeled Outputs, and the process is captured in activities and inputs, the resources, human, physical, and financial, invested in the project. The table that follows is a shorter version of the table comparing terminologies that included at the end of this document as an annex. Impact, long-term. Impact, short-term, or sometimes outcome. Outcome output process. CRS Prof Frame Goal Strategic Objective Intermediate Results Outputs Activities Inputs. USAID Results Framework. Goal Strategic Objective Intermediate Results Outputs Activities Inputs. DFID Log Frame Goal Intermediate Results Outputs Activities Inputs. Page 47. The goals. The goal describes the longer term, wider development change to which the project contributes. All frameworks include the project goal. Example of goals. For an agricultural intervention, the families of women rice farmers in the most vulnerable regions of the country are less food insecure. For a peace-building intervention, inhabitants of the region experience greater levels of personal security. Page 49. Strategic objectives. Strategic objectives, SOS, describe the immediate benefits that are achieved by participants by a given date, such as the end of the project. SOS result from changes that have taken place at the IR level as a consequence of the new attitudes, skills, or knowledge acquired or deliverables received, outputs, from well-done activities. And so expresses the central purpose of the project in a way that is realistic, specific to the project and measurable. For an agricultural intervention, women rice farmers have increased the productivity of their rice crop. For a peace-building intervention, two ethnic groups have reduced tensions between them in nonviolent ways. Examples of strategic objectives, SOS. Page 50. Intermediate results, IRS, state the expected change, S, in identifiable behaviors by participants or in identifiable approaches by interventions, systems, policies, or institutions as a result of what was gained, outputs, through project actions, activities. Progress at this level is a necessary precondition towards achieving the SOS. IRS can be expressed as changes in the rate project participants practice new behaviors or skills promoted by the project. Expansion of project reach or coverage. New ways of organizing or managing systems. Alterations to policy, or other evidence that shows project outputs being used consistently and correctly by participants. Page 51. Examples of immediate results, IR. For an agricultural intervention, women rice farmers are consistently using improved cultivation techniques. For a peace-building intervention, two ethnic groups are effectively implementing their agreed-upon activity. Outputs are the goods, services, knowledge, skills, attitudes, and enabling environment that are delivered or created by the project as a result of the activities undertaken. Page 52. Example of outputs. For an agricultural intervention, women rice farmers have demonstrably increased their knowledge related to improved rice cultivation techniques. For a peace-building intervention, two ethnic groups have a plan to implement a tangible activity of mutual interest. Activities describe the interventions to be undertaken in order to improve the immediate well-being, in the case of goods or services delivery, or knowledge, skills, and/or attitudes of project participants. Page 53. Examples of activities. For an agricultural intervention, CBTO and partner staff provides training for women rice farmers on more productive and environmentally sound rice cultivation techniques. For a peace-building intervention, CBTO and partner staff organize a workshop bringing together two ethnic groups in conflict with one another to plan a tangible activity of mutual interest. Note that objective statements should reflect the specific conditions where the project will be implemented. Objective statements can shift levels depending on the project's scope and context. For example, what may be a strategic objective within a project that is small in scope, short in duration, or being implemented within a challenging context or early on in a development process, could be an output within a project that is large in scope, longer in duration, being implemented in a more permissive context, or being implemented later in a development process. Page 54. Critical assumptions. Critical assumptions are factors or conditions outside of program or project designer's direct control, yet their existence is critical to allowing the program or project to achieve its next higher level objective or result. Critical assumptions are inherent in program designers' theories of change. For example, a program designer might assume that training as a methodology is sufficient to effect behavioral change, or a program designer might assume that local officials will respond to citizens' input. The assumption must hold true for an activity to lead to an output to lead to an intermediate result, and on up the results chain. When designers identify potential critical assumptions, they need to determine whether they ought to. Page 55. Adjust their design to minimize the risk. Redesign the program or project because the risk is too high, or maintain the design as is. Recognizing that the risk exists, but is unlikely to affect the program or project, and committing to monitor the risk as the program or project progresses. The following decision tree founded by ProPac can help designers determine how best to respond to an external factor that is a potential critical assumption. While this decision tree specifies CRS Prof frame, it can be used when developing any logical or results framework. Page 56. Page 57. Using this decision tree, project designers can determine which external factors can be incorporated into their project design, and which must become critical assumptions to include in their results or logical frameworks. Project designers should maximize the external factors incorporated into their project design and minimize those included as critical assumptions. The fewer the needed critical assumptions, the better, since they must be monitored. Project designers have the most control over activities and are able to incorporate the greatest number of external factors into project activity design. For example, availability of resources would not be a critical assumption, since this external factor should be taken into consideration in the activity design. At higher levels of a results or logical framework, project designers have less control over the achievement of results and a greater need to incorporate external factors as critical assumptions. Page 58. For an objective statement to lead to the next higher level objective statement, the critical assumptions associated with it must hold true. For example, if an output holds true, women rice farmers have demonstrably increased their knowledge related to improved rice cultivation techniques. and its associated critical assumption or assumptions hold true. Training